Hello Crafties, it's Lonnie with Crafty Traveler. I'm usually in my RV traveling around, but because I'm going to be doing a trip to Scotland in August for a couple of weeks, the RV is going to be parked. And I have done a few videos of things I am sewing for my trip. Today I want to show you how I made this duffel pouch. This is actually going to be a two-parter. This is going to be part one. Let me go over the special things I did with this pouch. I made this pouch because I use a CPAP and I wanted a nicer pouch to take the CPAP in. The current case that I have is kind of an old black case and I don't like it. So I wanted to make it a little prettier. And I wanted it to have extra pockets. So I've used two different patterns and a few other extra designs in this pouch. The first pattern was the right size, about 15 inches or so, but it had zippers that went all the way down to the bottom. And it did not have a shoulder strap or a place to put in a shoulder strap hook like this one. The second pattern had the place to put the shoulder strap hook. The first pattern was a trolley pocket, had a trolley pocket right here. And this trolley pocket goes over my handle on my suitcase. Second pattern had a pocket in the front that had a zipper, and I modified it so I also have a front pocket behind the zipper. The first pattern had other pockets on either side, but I didn't really want them. On the back with the trolley pocket, I do have two little slip-in pockets, but I don't know what I'll be using them for. Maybe put Kleenex in there. The second pattern had the strap. I also used another design to make this pad for the shoulder strap, and that is a video that I watched. I also put in cargo pockets on the side, on both sides, and that is another video that I watched and got the free design. I will be putting all of these links down in the description of all the patterns and designs and YouTube videos that I watched. The zipper on the top, and then inside I put a net pouch. The pattern called for a solid piece of fabric, but I wanted a net pouch so that I could put my hose to my CPAP there. And there is another zipper pouch pocket inside. I used 5 different designs and patterns for this trolley duffel bag to put my CPAP in. So this is part 1 of the constructing of the trolley duffel bag. Thank you for watching.
Stitching stories in each town, colors weaving round and round, with a needle and a thread, so much life in what you said. Crafty traveler on the road, sewing dreams with every load. From city lights to fields of green, in each piece a memory seen. Pain and fabric in your bag, every town alive to tag. With your hands you mend and mold, crafting tales yet to be told. Patchwork quilt of places gone, in each scene the world you've drawn. Button days and ribbon nights, by the journey, make it bright. Every stitch a chance to roam, every brushstroke feels like home. Wanderlust in every thread, crafty traveler, forge ahead.
So I'm starting on this duffel bag that I'm going to be using for my CPAP. I have 2 duffel bag patterns that I've purchased online, and I'll put those in the description if you want to purchase them. I think they're each $10 a piece. Plus, I have this cargo pocket from So Sweetness that was free, and I'm going to be doing the trolley pack. I'm going to be doing this trolley pack. It has a pocket in the middle and the back that allows the handle of my carry-on to go through, and then this 2 on the either side are just sleeve pockets. This duffel bag has a side panel that allows me to put in a loop for a shoulder strap. I'm going to be doing that, and webbing for handles. I'm going to be using webbing for my handles. The other pattern does have a pattern piece for handles. The other pattern does not have over the top handle or a shoulder strap handle. It just has little loops. The other difference is the front of the trolley pack is just another long pocket. So in the middle of that, I'm going to be putting a zipper pocket in the middle of the front with 2 pouch pockets on either side. On the inside, that calls for a long pocket in the trolley pack, I'm going to be using netting for a long pocket. This will hold the CPAP hose and accessories and cord. Both patterns have measurements and printed pages for all their pieces. So I've cut out all my pieces with interfacing or lining that is called for, and this one has the outside, the lining, and the interfacing. And this is my, I'm going to have an inside zipper pocket also, which is something I got from one of the patterns. And then on the outside, I've got this heavier duty padding. And I'm going to have to quilt these pieces for this is for the main panel on the side, front and back. And this is the side panel that I'm going to put in. So I'm going to have that interfaced. I have to quilt that. This is the bottom panel, and again has lining and outside fabric, and I'll be quilting that. And this is the zipper panel. Now I've already shortened this. From one panel it's longer than the other, and I'm going to put that side piece on, which will allow me to put a loop on the side, or a tab on the side, to put the shoulder strap. So I've got some quilting to do, and I'll get back to you. I'm using Soft and Stable for the outside pieces, and it has iron-on one side. So I'm going to be ironing all the pieces with the Soft and Stable before I quilt it. I'm using my FOF Passport 3.0. The thread I'm using is a Magnifico thread from Superior. It's got a little shine to it. It's a polyester thread that I'm going to be using for quilting. And so now I'm going to quilt this. I'm going to quilt these at about 2 inches apart, unless it's a real small piece. So I'm putting chalk lines along. I'm doing it on the chalk lines on the lining side just because I don't want it to show on the front. I'm going to do a 3.0 stitch. Now I'm ready to do my zipper pockets. This bag is going to have two zipper pockets, one inside and one outside. And I'm also going to do, this is my front and back pieces. For the inside, I'm also going to do a netting long pocket. This will hold my CPAP cording or something like that. And then on the outside of that, which will be the back, there's the trolley pocket. And I've got interfacing and lining cut for that. So 4 pockets, 2 on the inside, 2 on the outside. For my inside pocket, I've just cut pieces of lining, and I found a zipper that closely matched that. Nothing fancy for the inside. But for the outside, I have these cute little turtle pulls that'll be on the outside pocket. I bought them on Amazon. They come a dozen of them, and I will put the link down below so you can look them up. But they're very pretty. They're enamel metalled zipper pulls, size 5. And I'm going to use this blue zipper, and it will work very well and coordinate with my outside pocket piece. I also have the lining and the interfacing cut for that. Both the pockets, the inside and outside zipper pockets, are going to be sewn the same way. So I'm just going to show you how I will do the one that's going to be my outside for interest. I've pressed the interfacing on the lining part first, and now I'm going to place the zipper on this piece so that the teeth are down, and I'm going to clip. Now the reason I have that zipper open right now is because I had to try it on the zipper pull earlier. First thing I'm going to do actually is going to mark the center. I'm marking the center, folding it in half, and marking the center of the zipper. And then I'm going to take my piece of fabric and also fold it in half and mark the center. And then I can line up the zipper with the center. And clip it. Hear my dog snoring. He's down here under my table snoring. Okay. I'm just going to sew at a 3.0 stitch length. I'm not changing my thread. I'm going to keep the turquoise in there. A little back stitch. Okay, there's the first part. Alright, I've now marked my lining fabric, the center, and I can place that on the center of the zipper and clip that. And turn it over so I can see what I'm doing. and sew the lining on. By the way, I put the right side of the lining on the zipper, but I have flipped it over so I can see the zipper. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Got the lining and the main part. So now I'm going to top stitch. This is one of the reasons I didn't want to change my thread, because all my top stitching is going to be this color. And I'm also going to top stitch the lining. Okay, I'm just going to sew a little stitching across the zipper to prevent it from coming apart. And now I'm going to put the zipper pull on. I've trimmed this side so that it'll supposed to be more easy if you trim off a little bit of the zipper itself. And then place the pull on the other side first. Okay, I've got it on that side. And then to put it on this side. Okay, it's closed there and it's open here. Okay. Now I'm going to open it about halfway, because I will need that for when I turn it out and go back to the... Now I'm going to put tabs on. So I've cut 2 pieces of fabric 2 inches by 2 inches. I'm going to fold one in half, finger press it, and then fold it to the center. Finger press, and this one, finger press, and then I'm going to go to the end of my zipper and place this here and fold it over. Ideally I should have done this before, but it'll get hidden in the seams. And sew it on. And then for the second one, okay, and I can trim that. Alright, now I'm going to fold this over, clip it together, and stitch the side. Alright, I finished both pockets, and I'm going to be placing the outside pocket onto the front piece. And I'd like it to be rather centered. So I folded the front panel piece in half and found center, and I also found center on the side. And I did the same thing with the pocket, so that this is in the center and this is in the center. Now I can line it up a little bit. Now for the placement of the inside pocket, I'm going to do it first. I folded in the panel in half to find center, and then I'm going to fold it lengthwise in half to find that center as well. And then the same with the pocket. I'm going to fold it in half to find center, and fold it in half the other direction to find center. And then I'm going to place it rather in the center of the panel and I'm going to pin it down and sew it, and then I'll come back. It gives me enough room that when I have to sew in the top part and the bottom, that there's enough room. So I'm going to top stitch and sew this all the way around. Alright, that's the inside. It's a little bit different green than the lining, so I can see it. So that's sewn on there. Now I'm going to flip it over, and I've already made my marks in the center and on the side for the center for this pocket, which is my outside pocket. So I'm trying to line those up to the center. And the reason I did the inside pocket first was if there are any stitch lines, which probably aren't going to be seen because it's the same thread and it would look like quilting, now I'm not going to see them at all. So I'm going to sew this down and I'll be back. Alright, there's my outside pocket with my little turtle pull, and it's lined. I've even got another pouch I didn't plan on. And my inside pocket also with an extra pouch because I didn't sew it down. But I'm pleased with it. Now I'm going to prepare this piece of mesh that I'm going to have on the inside of my back panel. And I think it needs a binding across the top. So I've cut 2.5-inch strip, 45 inches wide, which will be plenty. I don't need that much. I'm going to trim it up to size, or a little more than size. And then I'm going to prepare it just like I did with other bindings. I'm going to fold it in half and press it, and then fold it in half again on both sides, just like you do for a quilt binding. Stick the mesh inside of there and stitch it. I'm not going to go through the process on camera. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Alright, I cut the strip just a little longer than the mesh. I folded it in half and then folded it in half again so it creates a binding. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and place the edge of the meshing inside of the binding and clip it down all the way across, and then I'm going to stitch at about a little more than 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch down to make sure I catch all of the meshing that's in there, and that'll give it a little bit more stability. I'll let you know when I'm finished. Alright, there's my mesh with the binding on it. You can see the mesh a little better when I'm placing it on the back side of my back panel. And I wanted to hang over the edges a little bit so it'll be caught in the seams when I sew the sides and the bottom together. So I think that's about right. I'm going to pin it down, and then I'm going to stitch a basting stitch along the sides and the bottom. Here's my back panel with my mesh pocket. That's all done. That's great. Now I need to flip it over, and this is my back outside pocket, which is the trolley pocket. And I've already quilted it, as you can see, and I'm going to place it here. I should center it. I folded both my back panel and my pocket in half so I can center it, and I'm going to place it here, and I'm just going to baste the sides because the webbing will go in here, and there's room for side seam for the side panels. So I'm just going to baste the side and down the bottom and the other side. Alright, there is my trolley pocket. I stitched it on each side, and then I stitched it in 3 inches on either side and left this part open because this is what fits over the hand. This is what I made this bag for in the first place, was to be able to put my CPAP in it and have a trolley pocket over my suitcase handle so that I could carry it. I'm going to show you how to cover a strap on both sides and then attach it to the side piece with hardware. Sorry I didn't video the making of this side piece. Basically, I used the hardware pattern I'm going to use on this bag, the main fabric, the lining fabric, and the batting. I bought it on Amazon and quilted them together. And these all coordinate together. These are the clips that'll be going on the ends of my shoulder bag, and it'll be adjustable. So there's one adjustable bar, and this triangle bar is what is attached to the side piece of the bag. They're metal, I like them. And this particular triangle fastener, when these are clipped on, they always stay in the same place. And that's how the bag will look when the straps are together. And rather than a D-ring that kind of slides around, this kind of stays in place a lot better. Now I'm going to show you how to cover the strap so it's the same on both sides. And I did not turn the fabric. I've seen videos where they sew strips and they put the strap in and they turn it over, turn it around inside out, and then they put the strap in and feed it through. No, and I saw another video in which she just sewed some fabric and sewed it right to the top of the strap, but then the other part of the strap was the color of the strap. I don't have enough strapping to have for my shoulder strap and for these. So that's why I'm just covering these. Let me show you how I did it. I have 1.5 inch wide cotton strapping, and I'm going to cut this at 4.5 inches. Now I'm going to take a piece of fabric and I'm going to cut that at, I'm going to cut the fabric at 2.5 inches, which is 1 inch wider than the strap. So no matter what size width of strap you're using, cut the fabric 1 inch wider. Now actually I'm going to make 2 cuts of that. So I'm going to cut it again. 2.5 inch wide, and a minimum of 4.5 inches long. So I know these are a lot longer, so I'm not worried about it because I'll be trimming them down. Now I'm going to take the fabric. Now with this batik, I'm not sure which is right or wrong, so I'm going to say this is the wrong side. I'm going to fold down 1/4 inch and finger press on all 4 raw edges on both strips. Finger press 1/4 inch, fold. I'm just estimating it because I know these are going to be plenty big for what I need. Then take your strap and set it inside the folds of the fabric. Take your other fabric piece, make sure that this goes over the strap. Take your other fabric piece, make sure the fold is down, and place it right on top of that other fold. And clip it. When you're folding this, the bottom one should be up on the strap and the top one should just be folded and matching the edge. You're going to turn around and do the same thing. Fold the bottom one up over the strap, and then fold the top one down. And you might have to adjust the fold a little bit so that they are matching. Okay, so they're matching here. The bottom is folded up onto the strap, and the top one is folded on itself and matching the bottom. Now I'm going to go to the sewing machine and sew along here. I'm going to sew along here about 1/8 of an inch, and my needle will go into the strapping, and the same on that side. I'm sewing right along the edge, maybe 1/8 of an inch, and you should feel your needle go into the strapping. Now I'm turning it over and doing the same thing on the other side. Okay. You've already cut the strapping to about what you want, so you need to feel for the end of the strap and then trim that off, and feel for the end of that strap and trim that off. And then take your triangle piece of hardware and slip it in. It should slip through easily. And fold it in half. Like that. Should be about 2 inches worth. That's about 2.5 inches, but that's alright. And then I'm going to take my other side piece, and I've got to fold it in half to find center. And I'm going to use a piece of chalk to mark it. I like using chalk because it sloughs off easily. Take my strap and line it up with that piece of chalk right in the center, and take it to the sewing machine. And I'm going to stitch this about 1/2 inch from this edge and back stitch it a little bit. I didn't back stitch that, so I'm going to go over it again. And that's one piece of hardware. Okay, now that's sewn on quite well. Now there's going to be another seam up here because when the top part of the bag comes down, this will be sewn into that. I hope you enjoyed the video. I have divided this into 2 different parts because otherwise the video would have been too long. This video is still longer than ones that I usually make. Part 2 will be coming up in a couple days, where I actually put on the pocket on the side. I show you how to do the cargo pocket, the strapping, how to make the padding for the straps, and also just constructing the whole bag. So I hope you will stay tuned for part 2. This ends part 1. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give me a thumbs up if you got anything out of it. Comment, share, subscribe, and join my channel, please. Just click on that join button. I'd really appreciate it. And I would like to thank my members, Rita, Sherry, Desert Adventures, and my new member, Sally Forth. Okay, thanks so much for watching. Stay crafty.
Stitching stories in each town, colors weaving round and round, with a needle and a thread, So much life in what you said.